Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in.
We're live, and I've got Sam in the house. Sam, I didn't ask you how you pronounce your surname.
Louis, like the boy's name.
Louis, yeah, because it could also be Lewis as well. So I thought, I'll keep quiet. Hey, can you believe this? We've even got people waiting for us. So good afternoon, Pavel. Good to see you. So Sam Louis, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do, please.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Ash. It's great to be on chatting to you today. So Sam Louis, I'm the CEO of Praxity. Praxity is the largest alliance of independent accounting and auditing firms in the world by revenue. And we have 60 firms across 120 countries, 800 odd offices across the world, and 70,000 plus professionals working within the firms in the alliance. So it's a lot of people in a lot of places doing some amazing things.
And a lot of big numbers as well. That's incredible.
Incredible. You know, accountants like numbers. What can you say?
They certainly do. Are you an accountant as well?
I am a professionally qualified accountant. I'm a fellow of CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants.
I'm a big fan of CIMA. I've done a bit of work with those guys. So yeah, no, absolutely superb. So that's not an English accent, is it?
It's not an English accent, no. South African, in fact.
Cool.
So born and bred in Johannesburg, grew
fantastic.
up here, and moved to the UK 7 years ago.
Brilliant. So you're loving you're loving
a word that's a bit more English sounding.
You're loving our winter at the moment, hey?
No, I'm heading south on Saturday for some sunshine.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. So Praxity, it's an alliance. So that is where we all work together and we all help each other. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So our sort of tagline is united and independent. So we have a number of firms across the world that have strong, legacies, histories. Some of them are 150 years old. Their name, their culture, really important to them, and they want to maintain that, and rightly so. But they also have clients. We work in a very global economy, global world, and those clients expand their businesses. And how do you then start to service those clients across the world? If you had to find a partner in, say, Australia, how would you know which firms are good, which firms are going to give your client the right level of service that you want to give them? And that's where the alliance comes in. We don't accept everybody who applies. We have quite a stringent vetting process to make sure that those people who do join and who are part of Praxity subscribe to those same principles. And in fact, and I'll tell you about it a little bit later if you're interested, our firms have just all signed a charter around making a commitment to customer excellence and communication and collaboration globally. And I think we're the first in the world to get our firms to sign a commitment charter.
Right, that's fantastic. That's what we want now. You go to an accountant, you get your tax done, you get all your business stuff done, or all the fancy stuff. Because I know all about this because I have an accountant, and so I know what you guys do.
Exactly.
But it's turning into a commodity, isn't it? And we are more discerning as buyers, and we want our hands held. We want this happening. We want that happening. And so if I go with a firm that's got this, this set of rules or like you say, a charter, I know wherever I go in the world, if I work with a Praxity accountant, boom, it's sorted. So I love that. I absolutely.
Well, and then you'll love what I'm going to tell you next. Then we've also just launched something for our firms. We launched it in Rome at our Global Leadership Conference in October. We're asking our firms, we can't make it compulsory because they are independent, but we're asking our firms to sign up to do proper client experience research, and for each of them to get a net promoter score, so that anybody who deals with them knows what people are saying about them. Now, you might be interested that in the US, the average net promoter score is 38, which doesn't seem that high. But if you think of some of the best brands in the world, they're probably hitting about 65. If you think of the best customer service delivery that you can think of, they're probably sitting there. Our firms who were in part of the sort of pilot and started with it were hitting above 70. So I'm really proud of the ones that started doing it, and we've expanded it now to all our firms to say, hey, this is a really good way to talk to your clients, get good feedback from them, understand what's going well, understand what's not going well, still retain your kind of distance from your client because you are independent, you need to maintain that independence, but making sure that it's a really good experience.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's differentiating you from somebody else. You know, I've been working with accountants and bookkeepers for the last 16 years, and you know, and to the average person, they're all the same. But when you get deep and dirty, you can see they're all totally different. Now, you said 150 years old. Now, I take it you're talking about the practice, not the partner.
Yes.
And this is the thing. It's one of the oldest professions in the world, isn't it? And so you are going to have, you know, really long established businesses. So let's say that the oldest one that you've got is 150. How new is the youngest one?
Oh, probably about 3 years old, and that's in Jordan.
Right.
So a brand new firm. The profession is really new in Jordan too. So they've just formed a professional body, and it's starting to get going there.
Oh, wow. That's really exciting, isn't it?
So talking about it being one of the oldest professions, I mean, we all know that sort of double entry bookkeeping really codified in Rome in 1450 odd. But the first signs of bookkeeping were back in 300 BC. They found in Iran, or what is now Iran, sort of tokens and things of the first bookkeeping. So how amazing is that? It's been around a really long time.
Incredible. Did they use zero back then? That's hilarious, isn't it? When you think about how far it's all come as well, the profession. And you know, here we are now talking on the internet live,
Mm-hmm.
you know, going anyone can watch this wherever they are in the world. But you know, you couldn't do that even 10 years ago.
No.
You know, you'd need lots of big equipment and stuff like that. And it's exactly the same for all the tools and that accountants and bookkeepers are using. Is that something you see a lot of with your members? Do you call them members?
Member firms, absolutely.
Member firms, yeah.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think technology is changing, and it's constantly changing the way in which we work as individuals, how we interact with our family and friends, and then, you know, how the profession does the work that it does for its clients. And that investment in technology is critical. What was amazing, and we saw with the pandemic and lockdowns around the world, how many firms, the most successful, their staff were literally able to pick up their laptop, go home, and carry on working. Incredible.
Yeah, I've been working with a lot of accountants like that. People turn around to me and say, "Oh, you work with accountants? Oh, aren't they boring? Aren't they old-fashioned?" Not the ones I work with. They're all super cool. You know, they're all using things like Xero, and you know, a lot of them are using Macs as well, Sam.
Oh,
you know, they're that cool. But this is the thing. When we did hit lockdown, because it was all SaaS cloud, they were able to just go and do it. And whereas some of the legal firms, they had the devil's own job to get their staff to work from home. So
much more challenging.
Yeah,
much more challenging.
Accountants are more dynamic, aren't they?
I think they just like tech.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me, I'm running my little practice, and I'm watching this show, and I see, oh, that sounds a great idea. You you don't just take anybody, so you're definitely not going to take me. But what sort of things do I have to do? How many hoops do I need to jump through, and things like that?
So we have an application process, and then we rerun it every 3 years, so it's not a once-off. We have this sort of continuous assessment process, and there's basically 12 areas we look at from the, how financially sound is the firm, how long has it been going, who are the partners, how big is it, who are the clients, what are the reports from the regulators, have they been peer reviewed. Oh, there's there's a it's audit. There's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah. So
and then if we get through that, then there's some interviews we do as well.
Yeah. No, perfect. Because I guess it's not just about what I can get out of the membership. It's what I can give to the membership. Because if I'm in Jordan, all right, and there's someone in Australia needs some Jordan tax doing, hey, I need to be the right guy to be able to do that.
Exactly. So, and part of our strategy is about having the right people in the right place with the right skills at the right time. And that's why we look at which firms we want to engage with quite strategically, and which parts of the world we want to be in quite strategically. And it is about following the client. Okay. We don't just go out there looking for firms just because we want numbers.
No, sure. So, all right, I'm just going to keep picking on the Jordan people now.
Shame.
So I'm in Jordan. I haven't been doing this an awful lot, and I go, oh my goodness, I got an expat from the UK who wants some tax doing, or VAT or whatever that is. I just, hey, can you help me? And then all these people come running. How does that work, Sam?
Well, they contact each other. So, for example, we have conferences every year. I mentioned our Rome Leadership Conference. All our firms come to that, and it's all the senior leadership. So they really build strong personal relationships. So if John phones Susan, Susan will take the call because she knows who John is, or vice versa. So it's not just a name in a directory. You've probably met the managing partner.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's great. Yeah. Hi, it's Ashley. I'm from Praxity. Yeah, cool. Come in, take a seat. How'd you like your coffee? Yeah, I love it. Whereas most busy accountants haven't got time to take any phone calls. So that's great. So you do this. You've got to be a superstar to get in. And then every 3 years, I'm checked to make sure I can stay in. So it's like a badge of honor, isn't it? Well,
I like to think being part of Praxity is a kite mark of excellence, because it means you subscribe to a whole lot of things around quality and excellence. And we do, for example, on LinkedIn every Friday, I call it the Friday post, but we actually celebrate what our member firms do. And they do the most amazing things. From one of our firms, for example, Plant Moran, is in I think it's the Forbes or the Fortune Hall of Fame for being an best employer to work for the past 25 years. Wow. I mean, that is seriously high-powered stuff. So from winning that award every year through to a team in a small town are doing a walk to raise money for a local charity. We've got all sorts of people doing all sorts of amazing things around the world, and we celebrate all of those things, whether it's kind of more personal, doing for others, or professional recognition. That's important.
No, absolutely. So, what's the big? Don't name names, but how many staff and offices does the biggest firm have within Praxity, roughly?
Oh,
that wasn't on the notes, was it, Stan?
I would say probably 80 offices, probably.
Wow.
50,000 staff, maybe.
So huge practice. Yeah. So you're not looking at a guy in a shed, then, are you? And what about the smallest then?
Oh, 2 partners would be our smallest one. But that, big in one market can be a 4-partner firm.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we've got some amazing firms that are doing some really cool niches as well, haven't we? And I guess that would be an absolute perfect fit for Praxity, wouldn't it?
Well, we have one firm, for example, which values brands and does huge brand valuation. They're called Can I mention names?
You absolutely. If you're happy to share their
Yeah, yeah,
details,
yeah.
that's really not a problem on here. No.
So brand finance, and they are experts. They bring out that annual brand valuation report. They're great around intangibles, and thinking about valuations on balance sheets. It's really expert at that.
So here I am running my practice in Essex maybe, and I got someone come in and they go, oh, I'm really all about my brand. Da, 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 da. That partner's going to go, hang on a minute, I know just the person, and they'll be yeah, love it.
And they value Coca-Cola, so from the
Coca-Cola, what do they do? What do they know about brand?
Exactly.
That's incredible. That is a really specific niche, and something that I guess we all know about because we've all got our favorite brands, haven't we?
Don't we just?
Absolutely. So I've joined Praxity. I'm getting, people are knowing who I am, and I'm able to help in different parts because of my super duper specialism. What sort of things do you do to help the accountants and bookkeepers in your membership?
So one of the things we do is we have working groups, and they look at particular topics. So we have, as you would expect, one that looks at what's happening in the audit profession, one that looks at what's happening in tax, and most recently we've started ESG and outsourcing, because we know that those are two big hot button areas within the profession. I've just come back from Brussels with 2 days spent with talking about the European Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive and the impact that that's going to have on really organizations globally. So if you're an accountant and your organization does any business with a European firm as part of their value chain, this is going to affect you. It's not just for companies within the EU at all. So, I think if you're not out there thinking about sustainability, thinking about the opportunities that sustainability offers to your practice, whether it's going to be from an assurance point of view, from an advisory point of view, the tax around it, there's going to be a whole new lexicon of acronyms we're going to have to learn. And I think that's, some CPD on that is going to be a worthwhile investment.
So basically you're keeping an eye on the world for me. Not just not my little Essex practice, but the world. So
exactly, because it is such a global world, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's an awful lot smaller. Okay. So you speak to an awful lot of accountants and bookkeepers. What are the issues that they're having at the moment, Sam?
So the first one is sustainability, and really to get up to speed with that. One of the partners of one of our firms was sharing that in his country, the regulator now requires, I think it's 90 hours of training before you can even look and start thinking about doing any sustainability assurance. 90 hours, that's 10, 12 days of training.
Yeah, that's serious.
That's a lot of investment in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where are you finding the time for that? And it's also just rethinking about how you think about accounting, because, okay, I said earlier, I'm a chartered management accountant, and you will know you are used to thinking maybe a little bit broader about non-financial aspects, about the balanced scorecard rather than just the financial side of it. But if you've kept a very financial focus, to now start thinking about non-financial aspects and how do you assure those, because you want to be the person who does that. We are the trusted profession for assurance, and we want to, as a profession, retain that part of it. You need to be thinking about it. Also, your own firm, if they're part of a big firm's value chain, if you're part of a client's value chain and you have to report on it as part of their value chain, you need to start thinking about what you're doing from an ESG point of view and how you're reporting on it.
Amazing. And so and how are you helping these firms get up to speed with all these things?
So through our working group, and we're doing a whole number of trainings, because are able to draw on expertise around the world you name the jurisdiction, we've got an expert in it. And so we're starting to put together a whole series of sort of webinars that people can tap into and find out, well, you know, what's happening with ESG reporting in Canada, for example, and how is that different to what the Australians are thinking, and maybe South Africa's thinking a little bit differently about it. I'm still very proud that the integrated reporting started in South Africa under the leadership of Professor Mervyn King, and how that has impacted the whole ESG debate. So you just never know where it's going to come from.
No, absolutely fantastic. And because you're talking to so many diverse practices in so many different locations, you're getting a real handle on what's going on, what the issues are, and what we can do to fix them.
Yeah, and one of the big things is going to be just making sure your clients actually know what's down the road for them, because I'm not sure that the clients understand the impact that's coming either. And it's going to be big.
It's a big education space as well. Eva's saying that CPD also includes reading various accounting magazines and webinars. I guess you have a CPD program as well. So.
We do stuff, but then we also do deals with professional bodies. I mean, if they've got really good stuff, there's no point in us reinventing the wheel. So we're stuff that we can make it available and exclusively to our members, absolutely. But otherwise, we draw on professional bodies too.
Yeah, my goodness. So there's quite a lot of benefits for joining Praxity.
Is
there a waiting list?
There's not a waiting list, but we do, as I say, we do vet very carefully.
Yeah.
So if a firm is a member of Praxity, you know that it's met a number of quite stringent. Just to give you an indication, we probably accept 4 to 5% of the applications we get every year.
4 to 5 or 45?
4 to 5.
Wow. So, oh my goodness, that really is one heck of a badge of honor, isn't it?
But we want it to be, and that's our strategy.
Yeah.
We want it to be that kite mark of excellence. You know, if you're dealing with a firm that's part of Praxity, that it's committed to a whole lot of things and that it's going to deliver what you want them to deliver for you.
No, absolutely. Have you got any examples of how all this collaboration has worked? Have you got any awesome stories that you can share with us, please?
So one of my favorite stories is one of our UK firms. One of their partners does a lot of work in agriculture in the south of England, and a US company had phoned this client and said they wanted to buy, I think, £1 million worth of sheep.
Okay.
And so he phoned his accountant and said, can I, what do you think? Should I sell my sheep to the US? And does this company even exist that's making me this offer before, is it real? So the accountant went online, couldn't really find something. So he phoned one of the partners of one of our member firms in the US and said, this firm says it's kind of in your area. Have you heard of them? Are they real? Are they legitimate? They were. That was good. And he was able to go back to his client in South England and say, yes, it's a legitimate firm. They're reputable in their area. Go for it.
Awesome. And that's the thing, because you're really breaking down those global barriers, aren't you? It's handy that I suppose the US and the UK both speak the same language. What happens if we've got different countries and perhaps I don't speak Jordanese?
We do operate everything just in English because that is kind of the global lingua franca. So everybody will have some level of English.
Oh, fantastic. So tell me, I've been watching this show. I've listened to the podcast. This is all brilliant. How on earth do I apply? What do I do next, please, Sam?
So you can go onto our website, which is praxity.com, and in there you can go into the contact us section and then say that you'd like to join us, and that will pull up a form that you can fill in some basic information, not the whole lot, and we'll be in touch. Or you can email us at executiveoffice@praxity.com.
And if they say they know me, do they get special treatment?
Special rates? No, I'm afraid
Ah,
not.
no, special treatment. Special treatment.
We love all our members and we treat them all equally.
You are
And
brilliant.
it's all good.
No, you are brilliant. I've learned loads. I've learned loads today. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. I've got one more question. Look,
Yeah.
I've got two. So you know the last question I'm going to ask you because you've seen the notes. But I want you to think about this one. What haven't I asked you? And you don't have to answer it now. But what haven't I asked you that we perhaps missed? And so while we're doing that, I'm just going to show who I've got coming on my show next week. And he's here somewhere. Steve Case, all the way from the USA, data-centric ambassador and business growth expert. So I'm looking forward to having a chat with him. And today, I have launched my new platform. So I'm helping people with LinkedIn. So I've got a special launch price on my profile today. So if you go and have a look at that and see what I've been up to. So that's been a lot of fun. So Sam, what haven't I asked you?
So I think the one question we didn't talk about was impact on people. And you asked me to think a little bit about, was there somewhere where I'd had an impact on an accountant or a bookkeeper? And it got me thinking, because you think, oh, have I had an impact in my years? No, not really. And I remember just a young man, probably in his early to mid 30s, coming up to me. I used to work for SEMA in South Africa, and I used to do loads of career talks at universities. And he came up to me one day at one of our SEMA meetings, and he said, I just wanted to tell you that about 10 years ago, I heard you speak when I was an undergraduate at university, and you spoke about SEMA, and I was unhappy. I wasn't enjoying accounting, and it opened my eyes to maybe a different kind of accounting. And I changed, and I thought about it differently, and I'm now an accountant, and I absolutely love it. So thank you. And so I just think we always need to think a little bit about the impact of what we do, because I don't think we always realize what spins off from that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no, you're so true. Yeah, absolutely. I bet that made you feel all funny inside, didn't it? What a lovely thing! What a lovely thing to say.
Because you think, gosh, I was just doing my job in a sense. But lovely to think you've had a profoundly positive impact on somebody's life.
No, perfect. Love that. So my last question then. When you were at school and you're a wee little thing at primary school, what did you want to do when you left school?
So I'm going to tell you who I wanted to be when I left school. And I wanted to be Margot Fontaine.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
So I wanted to be a ballet dancer, a ballerina.
Did you do ballet?
I did ballet, and I did dance. And I did dance after I left school, but not ballet. But I still go to the ballet as often as I possibly can. I absolutely love it.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, what a great story. Sam, thank you so much for coming on my show today. Thank you for all the comments. Look at that. Good old Pavel. He's put my link for my workshop in there as well. So yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, everybody. I will be back next week. But until then, thanks very much indeed.
You get out what you put in.